What's going on, everybody, and welcome back for the first time in a long time to a brand new episode of the Koop'd podcast, the podcast that is the fake hedgehog around here, or something like that. We're back. It's been a while. A lot has happened since the last time I uploaded an episode in February. Most notably, there was a lot of stuff that came out, both Sonic related and not Sonic related. I also lost 93 and a half pounds, so please clap, everybody. It's great stuff. Thanks, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I think right on time. I don't know how that's gonna sync up in post, but in real time, that was synced up.
You think we edit around here? You're crazy. Yeah. Anyway, as you guys may remember, my name is Koopa. I'm the host of the Koop'd podcast. We're your one-stop shop for all things pop culture and not pop culture related. And yeah, I am back from a long hiatus. There's a lot to talk about, most notably revolving around a certain blue hedgehog. And had a trailer drop today, so I picked a really good week to bring the podcast back, and I couldn't have thought of a better person to get this next season hiatus of Koop'd Up kicked off than one of my very good friends and favorite reoccurring guests on the show. You may have remembered from such episodes such as Community and that time we reviewed Luca, and the audio was horrible, but everybody still really liked it. It's my good friend, video producer at Pokemon Company. It's Mr. Camalange. Cam, hello. How you doing, bud?
Hello, Koopa, New Jersey. I'm doing great. I'm so honored to always be the first guest. I think it should be tradition. Anytime you go on a hiatus, which will probably be right after this episode, I should be the one that comes back every time.
Yeah, see, this is there are certain things you can ask your best friend to do, and yours is always just jumped on an impromptu podcast with me at 11:30 in the afternoon. So
the sacrifices we make.
Yeah, so obviously, the one of the most anticipated films of the year, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, is coming out in December, and you are the biggest Sonic, one of the biggest Sonic fans in my revolving circle of people. And we're going to talk about
what makes you think that?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I think it's the shirt, actually.
Yeah, that was probably a giveaway.
The giant plushie, which, by the way, for those of you that are in a video audience, Cam has what I just discovered the other day. He has the Sonic the Hedgehog ice cream cone plushie on his couch, which supposedly has a scent to it. So I'm very excited for you to...
I haven't opened it. It's not an ice cream cone. It's just an ice cream pop.
Yes, all right. Yeah. You got me there.
I take this very seriously. But yeah, it's supposedly scented. But I haven't been able to bring myself to rip the seal because the packaging is so good. Yeah, it's literally just like a giant ice cream pop wrapper. It's perfect.
Honestly, that's one of those things where you'd probably have to buy two, one to.
I was honestly considering it. It is resealable though. It's just, but you still have to tear the top in order to get to the resealable zipper. So I don't know if I want to risk it. It's a tough decision. It
is tough. I'd let that thing melt, honestly, at this point. So, but yeah, we're gonna talk about all that in a second. But it's been a while since I hosted a podcast. I think the last time I did an episode, Deadpool and Wolverine had just dropped its first trailer, and that was during the Super Bowl. So it's been quite a while.
And that movie's out now.
That movie is out, and it made $1 billion, and it was great. And we'll talk about that on another podcast episode.
Well, everyone's going to forget about that movie, and they're going to see Sonic 3, and that's going to make $2 billion.
I can only hope so. But before we get into that, Cam, how you doing? It's been a while. Let's catch up a little bit. What have you been up to?
I'm doing okay. I'm keeping busy, as always. It's somehow already almost September. I feel like this year has just vanished right before my very eyes, moving at the speed of sound, one might say. But a pretty decent year. No major complaints. Feeling pretty good. So, but other than that, I don't know. I haven't been doing much outside of that, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that's all we can do is survive.
Playing video games, watching movies,
What's
Well,
what's your favorite movie you've seen this year? Let's
this
gun to your
year,
head.
making me pull up my letterbox. Does it have to have come out this year, or is it just anything I
No,
watched this year?
what's your favorite thing you've watched this year so far?
Okay. Let me get a little refresher here. I just watched John Wick 4 last night to prepare for the trailer.
What did you think?
That was pretty good. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it. I don't know if I love the ending.
I'm not sure if I love it either.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into it. I don't want to spoil it, but I think John Wick 2 might be my favorite. I really like that one.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite of the four.
Yeah, it's just kind of nuts. it just goes crazy, and I kind of love that about it. I did see Deadpool and Wolverine recently. I wouldn't say it's my movie of the year, but that was enjoyable. I think they did a good job with it. It's funny. It's rated R.
It sure is.
They figured that out. They got that to work. Oh, you know what? I guess maybe Furiosa is maybe my favorite this year.
Oh, I still have not seen that yet.
Yeah, I like that one quite a bit. It's not. I don't think it's as strong as the previous one, as Mad Max Fury Road, but it was really good. It's still really good. I feel like it kind of got looked past. Like there was kind of some hype going into it, and then it just kind of died. But really great performances, really cool visual storytelling. So that's probably up there for me this year. But I don't know. Like I'm going through my reviews, and I'm realizing I just feel like there wasn't a lot this year that was particularly impressive. I didn't watch as many movies in 2024 as I did in 2023. 2023 was a big movie year for me, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't been like blown away this year, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm going through my letterbox right now also because I've been really conscious about using it this year. Spoiler alert, I like Deadpool. I thought that was also pretty good. I'll probably do an
hot take.
Yeah, a real hot take. I'll probably do an episode of that at some point. It was fun. I saw Longlegs. I thought that was pretty.
I wanted to see that one. I meant to see it, and then we just ended up not going.
You know what it was? Like, I needed to see that movie a second time before I, like, kind of got it. Like, it kind of left me feeling flat. Like, it wasn't, like, this end-all, be-all, like, masterpiece of a horror movie that everyone hyped it up to be. I really liked it still, but it was just kind of... I didn't really get it. And then I saw it again, and I'm like, no, actually, this is really good. It was a fun, little suspenseful horror movie.
It's no Five Nights at Freddy's.
No. Or subsequently Willy's Wonderland, if you've seen the other Nicolas Cage slasher horror movie.
No, I've not seen that one. But gotta add that to the list.
Oh, it's hilarious. Highly recommend it.
Is it intentionally hilarious, or is it just hilarious?
It's like both.
In a bad. Okay, interesting.
It's like bad funny, but also like funny. I don't know. I like Nicolas Cage. I'll watch anything he's in.
I mean, yeah, I am a supporter. I'm a defender of the Cage. There's been a lot of movies. I watched not like recently, but I think the last movie I saw with him was Renfield, and even though that movie wasn't like great, like he's great in it.
Yeah,
like it was. I still enjoyed it just because like he was really good. There's some other fun moments, but yeah,
great Kyle jokes in Renfield.
Yeah,
great movie for Kyle jokes. You basically just summed up my Nicolas Cage experience of movies. It's just like the movie itself might not be that great, but he's always great in it. So
I think the thing about Nick Cage is that he always brings his all. Whether it's a good performance or like bad or weird, like you can't deny that he's putting it all out there. Like he commits to an angle, and that's you got to respect it.
Yeah, one movie I will touch on quickly. It's also topical because it's a subject you and I have talked about before in the past. Because I'm probably not going to do a full episode on this. I saw Inside Out 2 semi-recently. I loved it.
Nice.
I thought it was fantastic. I don't know if you saw it or what you're
I have not seen it. I think might be already streaming, or maybe like it's for rent. I don't know. But I think I saw ads that you can watch it from home now. I'll probably watch it eventually. just haven't gone around to it. I did see though that it's now the highest grossing animated film of all time, which is
crazy.
Kind of crazy. I mean, like shout outs to animation, although not a great time to be an animator right now. But I feel like when you see that, you start asking, why isn't it a great time for animators right now? That's a topic. But anyway, I heard it's good. I heard it's really good, and I'm just kind of surprised because I mean, the first Inside Out, I think, did well in the box office. I don't remember how well. I don't think it was like a huge blockbuster, but it was high performing. I didn't really anticipate, like, if you had to ask me what's going to be the highest grossing animated film of all time, I probably wouldn't go, Inside Out 2, probably. Like, that just wouldn't be on my list. But hey, they did it.
They sure did. Yeah, the first Inside Out made $858 million. So
yowza.
Yeah, it's a lot. And I am like higher on that movie. Like that's I rewatched that movie for the first time in a while, leading up to the film. And I always really liked the first Inside Out because it kind of hit me at like a very like vulnerable part of my life. So like,
yeah, I remember feeling things.
Yeah, the movie certainly resonated with me, and I watched it again. I'm like, yeah, no, this movie still makes me feel stuff. It's really good. And the second one does a lot of the same, and with more characters. And I thought it was very smartly written. I like that they something that can kind of happen in these Pixar sequels is that a lot of the plot stuff feels kind of the same. Like, as much as I love the Toy Story films, a lot of the plot points feel very recirculated. But this movie, they kind of took that concept and spun it on its head a little bit, and I really thought that was very interesting, and highly recommend it.
I saw a great post from discussing film from an interview with Quentin Tarantino where he just says that Toy Story 3 is one of the best movies he's ever seen, and he will not watch Toy Story 4 because he's like, it's done. They did it. They made a perfect movie. It's over. I don't care how good Toy Story 4 is. I'm not watching it. And that's I put into words what I've been saying. Like, I did cave in and I saw Toy Story 4 because I was just like, all right, let's see what they did. But like, yeah, Toy Story 3 is like, it's just so good. You did like they were done. It was over. But now they're making a fifth Toy Story, and I'm just like,
okay. I was out on the fifth Toy Story for a while because I'm just like, I don't know how they're gonna do this. But when they showed the concept at D23, I was like, God damn it, man! Like, it makes so much freaking sense, and I'm like, I hate that I'm gonna go watch this, but I'm like,
you're a sucker.
You're damn right I am. I've seen how many more? I'm the Marvel guy, man. I've seen everything. I'm a sucker for a good franchise. So
that's rough.
Yeah, and I'm joining at a low point, as a one Wade Wilson says. But yeah, no, that's a little bit of a catch up on what I've been watching. Stay tuned for full episodes and reviews and all of that stuff at some point on the Koop'd podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts. In the meantime, we've gathered here today to talk about a character near and dear to our heart. Kev, have you heard about this little movie called Sonic the Hedgehog 3 coming out December 20th, 2024?
I would say I'm vaguely familiar, yeah.
You've read it before. Yeah, the first trailer for Sonic 3 dropped today, and I know it's been something people have been anticipating. I've even saw some posts in the very fringe bit of Sonic Twitter that I'm connected to where like people were like, I don't even know if I'm excited for this movie anymore. And I think they're just all wrong. So Cam, let's talk about how was your excitement level pre-trailer, and how are you feeling, about 12 or however many hours removed from watching the trailer?
I mean, so we all knew that Shadow was going to be a big focal point, and that, it's teased at the end of the second movie, and then when they were talking about production, like, they teased Shadow's shoes and shit, so we knew that, like, Shadow is going to be the big, like, new thing for the film. So I was excited because I feel like it's been so long since Shadow's really had a chance to be like a fully fleshed character. Like, unless you read the comics, like what has Shadow really done in the last like 10 years? Yeah. And like, he's just kind of like a side character at this point. Like I guess he had like that one campaign in Sonic Forces that was really short and
yes,
whatever. But yeah, other than that, like, I think like since his debut, they just have been scrambling to figure out what to do with this character. And they kind of, whiffed on his namesake game, and they've just been kind of afraid to go back to him ever since, which is a shame because it's not that character that's the problem. It was just a poorly executed game. So I like seeing a movie that would be centralized around this character is like, oh, okay, like they have a chance to not only kind of bring back Shadow's origin story from Adventure 2, but maybe they'll incorporate elements from the Shadow the Hedgehog game that kind of tie into his backstory and past. I don't know how much. I feel like they're probably going to mostly focus on the Adventure 2 part in this movie. I'm not expecting a ton of Shadow the Hedgehog reference. Like, I don't think we're going to see Doomseye or anything. I'd be shocked if we got like Doomseye or like Black Doom. I'd be like, holy shit. I really don't think we are though. But you never know. But yeah, so I think the initial hype when Sonic 3 was confirmed and they did like the little shadow teasers, it was super exciting. I think also Sonic Movie 2 was so much better than the first movie that fans kind of had restored faith in what the live action movies could be. I think we all felt with Sonic Movie 1 where it was like, okay, they got it out the door. It did well. It didn't bomb. It wasn't a terrible movie. It was palatable. Now that they've confirmed that this concept works, they can throw more money at it. They can get more characters. So I think the hope is that with each one, they continue to kind of elevate the Sonic universe and expand upon it within the trilogy. But yeah, then it was kind of like radio silence for a while, which, I think when you look at the lifespan of marketing, you do want to do it a little closer to when the movie's going to launch. Obviously, you don't want to do it too far in advance. But I feel like a lot of it was left to rumors and potential leaks, like the Keanu Reeves element. People were like fan casting it for a while, but then there's a lot of potential leaks and like, oh, we've confirmed it. And I think it would have been really fun to have been able to experience that officially first. And like, even if it was just a light teaser, because at that point, I feel like the suspense had been kind of ruined. Like we were all pretty much expecting Keanu Reeves at this point. But either way, like it didn't kill my excitement for the movie. I was still stoked, but I just had like nothing to sink my teeth into. I just know they're making another one. Yeah. But this trailer totally delivered.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat as you. Like, obviously, as a Sonic fan, we've kind of had this like very what's the word I'm looking for? Just like timid, tender relationship with like anything Sonic related. Like when it's great, it's great. When it's bad, it's really bad. So like when that first, obviously we all remember where we were when that first horrid trailer dropped and we saw like that really rough design for Sonic, and we're all like, ugh. Yeah, it's happening again. This is why I don't fall in love. You're muted, by the way.
We've come so far since then.
We really have. And now then that guy cameoed in Chippendale Rescue Rangers. So
honestly, the best use that they could have had for that.
I agree.
Yeah. So it all worked out in the end.
Yeah. For everybody. But then we got a promise that, hey, they're going to go back to the drawing board with this and fix it. And then, Sonic looked great. So we're like, okay. And then the movie came out. And like you said, I was pleasantly surprised. I was very cleansed. I was refreshed by what I saw. And I was like, this is great. My biggest complaint is I just wish they leaned more into the games. And they kind of did that a little bit more with the second movie. Not as much as I would have liked personally, but that's a nitpick. The movie was still great. Idris Elba crushed his knuckles. And I love that they brought Colleen O'Shaughnessy into voice Tails. So all that worked for me. And I love James Marsden. I'll watch anything he's in. So like that was an easy sell for me. And then, obviously they hint the whole shadow of it all at the end of the movie. And, I lost my mind as a 20-something-year-old who loves Sonic Adventure 2. Hottest take that's my second hottest take of the night. Sonic Adventure 2.
Coming in hot tonight.
That's what I'm saying. First podcast back, baby. Gotta hit him.
Is Sonic Adventure 2 the best 3D Sonic game?
Is Fortnite overrated?
Yeah. Just the 3 kids sitting around the couch. The minds at the table.
Have you ever watched that YouTube video?
No, of course not. No, of course not. I've seen the screenshot. I did not bother to watch the video.
I think I when that meme first popped up. Just a quick tangent. I clicked on it. The opening clip they used for the theme song is like a microphone recorded Driftvale City theme song, and it's really funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so the shadow of it all was very exciting to me. Obviously, I was closely following what was going on here. Jim Carrey said that, he was retiring from acting, so we're just like, are we going to see him again in the movie? I'm very happy.
They purposely left the ending ambiguous about that too. In Sonic Movie 2, they were just like, he's dead?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah, and I just love that Jim Carrey is just going to come out of retirement for Sonic the Hedgehog because he is a scene stealer and he is one of the the heartbeats of this franchise. And they crushed it in terms of in talking about a movie that gets the fan casting is right. Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik has been a dream come true. And if there's 2 things I read about casting speculation wise the most this year, it's who is playing the Fantastic Four in the MCU and who's voicing Shadow the Hedgehog. And obviously Keanu Reeves' name was at the top of that list. People have been doing the voiceover dubs for years with it. Personally, when I heard the rumor of Hayden Christensen, I was like, okay, wait a second. This isn't what I wanted, but I kind of dig it. I could see the vision there. And then the news.
Pattinson was also in the mix for potential as a fan cast choice.
Yeah, and I would have been fine with any of those. I like all those actors, and I think it's cool that this movie has kind of evolved from, if the biggest star of your movie was, a very, older Jim Carrey who hadn't really been in anything substantial for a while, and Cyclops from the X-Men franchise. God bless James Marsden. It's now you can get some real star power in here, and Keanu Reeves is one of the biggest action stars of the last of the last 10 or so years. I thought that was great, and coming into the trailer, I loved it. The long and short of it is that it was a great trailer. I loved the parts they chose to show. I feel like they didn't show too much, and if you watch real closely, there's stuff in there for the fans, which I love. So we can kind of just dive into it. How'd you feel about the trailer? I'm sure.
Before we get too nitty gritty in the trailer, I want to ask you a question.
I might have an answer.
Okay. The first Sonic movie we know is very not Sonic universe. It's mostly a road trip movie. Yeah. The second movie is half Sonic movie, half wedding movie.
Yeah.
The Knuckles show was a bowling show. What is the other half of Sonic 3 going to be? Because you're going to be something.
Oh, God. What's a good buddy cop movie? Friends Become... Oh, man, that's a tough one. I think... What is...
Could be a heist. Could be... well, I don't know. It kind of seems like it might be Family Vacation. I think it's Family Vacation.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because because I think they're supposed to be in Tokyo in the trailer, right? Because I also saw the Japanese trailer, and the name of the movie is literally Sonic Shadow Tokyo Mission or something like that. They have Tokyo in the name, kind of like how Sonic Movie 2 in Japan was something it was just Sonic and Knuckles with some subtitle. They have a different naming convention, but. I think it's going to be a family vacation to Tokyo or some shit, and then
or it's a racing movie.
Yeah, it's a Tokyo Drift. Yeah,
Sonic and Shadow Tokyo Drift. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to lean towards one of those, or go buddy cop, because we do see a lot of Sonic and Shadow in the trailer. But now that we got the B plot of the movie out of the way, what are your thoughts on the trailer?
Yeah, I mean, I like I said at the top, I think the trailer really delivered. I kind of didn't know what to expect going into the trailer, because just given what we've seen from Sonic 1, 2, and the Knuckles show, it's a very wide spectrum of here's some really cool references or like direct story from the games, and then here's this other fucking movie that we jammed into it for the parents, right? So you're just like, oh, okay, like I have really high hopes with Shadow's story because he's such a serious, like darker character, and he does have this tragic past. So I think we all had hopes that they would do it right and that they would like lean into that aspect of his character and not try to undercut it. And from what we see in the trailer, obviously Keanu Reeves as Shadow, fantastic casting. I love it. It was, as far as the fan casting goes, that was my top choice. I think, like you said, as far as star power goes, like it's such a statement. Like even if you don't think that like Keanu's the perfect casting for Shadow or whatever, it's like if you just think about it in terms of what the franchise has become, like you've got fucking John Wick in your Sonic movie. Like that kicks ass. Like that's just so sick. Like if you told someone that Keanu Reeves is going to be Shadow the Hedgehog, you'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But here we are. It's happening. It's just awesome. I love it. But so there's that. And the shots of like him and Maria are just like, oh, it got me good. Like him, like with his hand against the glass, and Maria there. Oh man, yeah. So I think like they're really staying true to a lot of what and who Shadow is. And to borrow a phrase that has become popularized because of Spider-Man, Maria is a canon event for Shadow, right? Like if you don't have Maria, you don't have Shadow. It's core to his identity. So we know that she has to play an important part in that story. So I think getting like a little bit of a teaser of that was great. We don't know too much about the circumstances, but it seems heavily implied that I don't think they're going to shoot her like they do.
I was going to say, are they going to light this girl up? Like,
no,
they're not going to do that, right?
It's probably going to be like an explosion or something, like an off-camera death or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like it does, like the shot, like the very distant shot of like Shadow holding a body, and like it's presumably Maria. Like it just feels like they're like not going to hold back in terms of that aspect of him. So I'm really excited to see how they adapt it for the big screen. It's that's like the shadow of it all, I guess, is that I think they not only made a good casting choice and seemed to be faithful to his character, which really we haven't gotten to see from Shadow in a long time, but also Tyson Hess has been working on the Sonic movies ever since he was brought in to save the design in the first movie. And he's been crushing it ever since. And not only that, Jeff Fowler, the director, he animated was one of the animators that worked on the Shadow the Hedgehog game. And say what you want about the Shadow the Hedgehog game, the cutscenes are kick ass, and that opening theme music video kicks ass. I don't care what anyone says. It's
we watched all the cutscenes for that one time.
Yeah, we sure did. And we were drinking while doing it.
Oh yeah, we did.
But yeah, like Jeff and Tyson, I think, have a really good understanding of what makes Shadow feel like Shadow, and his design is like perfect. His movements are perfect, like everything from the way that he skates.
Oh my god!
He even does like the little click from the Shadow the Hedgehog "I Am All of Me" like music video, where he kicks one of the gun agents. They like almost 1-to-1 did that kick with the teleport. The teleporting looks great. Just like his mannerisms and everything, I feel like they just really nailed his aura, just the way he carries himself. And yeah, I'm extremely impressed with what we've seen so far from the Shadow aspect of the film.
Yeah, like it was obviously very shadow focused because he is the selling point of this movie.
Yeah.
And I understand that the movie's probably going to do the bait and switch with me where Shadow's painted as the villain of this movie, but that's probably not going to be the case. There's obviously going to be some third act team up. They tried doing it with Knuckles in the Sonic 2 trailer, but like anyone that's played a Sonic game knows it's like that's really not how it's going to work. But I don't really care because Shadow looks great. Like everything about the way that the model looks, the way that he sounds, and like you said, the mannerisms. Like when I watched him like glide on his skates, I was foaming at the mouth at my desk. I was like, it looks so good, and like you said, just the aura of Shadow was nailed when he's beating everybody up. It's so funny to watch Tails get his ass kicked again by Shadow in a fourth IP. Bro cannot stop. He cannot stop getting his ass kicked by Shadow. It's so funny. I saw fan art of there's obviously a big anime, influence in a lot of the shots they use. Obviously, if there's a motorcycle in a movie, you got to do the Akira slide. It's the rule. You got to do it. There's the one part where he kicks Knuckles into the air, and it's literally the Vegeta kick from Dragon Ball Z. Like, it looks so cool, and that aspect of it they crushed. And there's
funny enough, in a recent interview, they were asked if Shadow was like inspired by Vegeta because a lot of fans think that he is, and they're like, no, it's not Vegeta. They're like, actually, we were inspired by Spawn. I think that's sick.
That's way funnier.
Yeah, right. It's so good.
My favorite anime character, Todd McFarlane's Spawn.
So good.
Yeah, but just the shadow of it all. Obviously, that's going to be the biggest selling point, and I thought they crushed it. And I am very excited to see what else they borrow from the source material. There's obviously a huge influence in Sonic Adventure 2, as well as Shadow the Hedgehog, and in a lot of the shots that they used. So I think I've watched the trailer a million times today to try to get to the nitty gritty of it all, and there is some stuff that that the very eagle eyed watching the videos at half speed fans picked up on. So do you want to start with the Chow Garden, or where do you want to go? Where do you want to start?
Well, my prediction is that there's going to be a Five Nights at Freddy's joke in the movie because the Chow Garden has big like animatronic Chuck E. Cheese vibes. And I'm just waiting for that Sonic quip where it's like, is Freddy here? I don't know. Like he's gonna pull some shit out of his ass about it. I don't know what it's gonna be, but
I think if there's a way to like incorporate the Chows in Sonic, I think that is fucking perfect. That is so funny.
Sonic's gonna like take a bite out of pizza and be like, that was a great bite of pizza, almost as good as the bite of '87.
If that happens, I'll give you $1. Like,
ooh, I can't wait.
Yeah, that soda's gonna taste real sweet.
Yeah,
but like I think I just find it funny. It's just like there's anthropomorphic animals in this world, but they draw the line at chows being real things, so they're just mascots in a family themed restaurant.
I know. Well, it's also like how for some reason, even though we see what Sonic's home planet looks like, and it's clearly based off Green Hill Zone, James Marsden lives in Green Hill, and Sonic never is like, oh yeah, that's like the same name as like where I fucking grew up. Like it's just whatever. It's not the same.
Green Hill's been reduced to a town in Montana.
Yeah, it's like okay, sure.
Okay, yeah, I'll suspend my disbelief for a bit, but
yeah,
like I like that aspect of it. There's some slowed down shots where I think people were trying to make a point that maybe the ship that Shadow comes out of, like they said it looks something like, what was it? Is that space? I don't think that was Space Colony arc, but
people are comparing it to the Eclipse canon. They think it might be like the movie's interpretation of the Eclipse canon, which I could see that being the case, but I could really see it going either way because I feel like in the the scale of Sonic Adventure 2, as much as we love it, we know it's ridiculous and it's like kind of like almost like just a melodrama at some points. But the concept of like there being a giant laser orbiting Earth and can destroy the moon, given how we were just saying how they've been reducing a lot of aspects of the Sonic world to being like it's a town in Montana or it's a kids restaurant. Like
Yeah.
I would kind of be surprised if Space Colony Arc is even a thing in this movie. It seems like from what's been shown, like it seems like Shadow's canon events take place like on Earth and not in space. From like, it's hard to tell, obviously, just from the few shots that we saw. But like, my guess is that like we don't know how, but obviously, like all the Sonic characters in this lore are aliens. So Shadow somehow, as an alien, ends up on Earth. I think it's safe to assume that like the government finds him first, captures him, and like does tests on him or whatever. And he's held in captivity somewhere on Earth, like in like the Gun's basement, and that's like where he meets Maria and all that shit, right? So I don't think Space Colony Arc specifically is going to be a big factor in this movie. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I don't think that's the angle that they're going with. I think they're trying to keep it a little more grounded, literally. But I could see that like giant like robot like saucer that we saw being similar to like what the Eclipse canon serves for the plot of Sonic Adventure 2. I could see that.
Yeah, and I feel like if they're gonna lean in that direction, they're not gonna give us that in the first trailer. Like,
no, right? No,
yeah, they're gonna make us wait for that. Like, they made us wait for Supersonic, and like, I'm glad that they did. I'm so happy that they didn't spoil that for us in any capacity. Granted, I saw the movie the weekend it came out because I refused to be spoiled on it. But
yeah, because my other take too is that I don't think BioLizard's going to be in the movie. People keep saying that people want BioLizard, but I don't think BioLizard's going to be in the movie. That's like my hot prediction.
I just want them to blow up the moon. That's all I want. I
don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to tone it down. Again, like I said, some of the stuff I'd love to be proven wrong, but it's just my theory. Given what we've seen from the previous ones, like think about it this way, right? Like in Sonic Movie 2, there's the place that's kind of implied to be like kind of Angel Island-ish, but it's it's not in the sky. It doesn't fall down into the ocean like it does in the games. It's just kind of like an island that's there. So I kind of feel like the concept of BioLizard is like it's going to be too much for the parents to buy into. So I feel like they're going to make the whatever the heel turn is, where Shadow realizes that Maria's dying wish was not to destroy humanity, but instead protect it. I think it's going to be a different like final battle than what we've seen in Sonic Adventure 2. I do think we're going to get the super forms. I'm willing to bet money on that one, but I don't think it's going to be the same climax that we saw in the game. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, thinking about it, obviously from a big picture perspective, they have sort of like watered down a lot of like the crazy aspects of Sonic, because a lot of this stuff, like you said, is kind of ridiculous. But there are some more, I guess, grounded approaches they could take from that, if they choose to go that direction. Like, I saw somebody post this on Twitter where they're like, you see them in the trailer give Robotnik one of Sonic's quills.
Oh yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was the gears were turning.
Yeah, and then somebody's like, "Oh, what if this is how he makes Metal Sonic or something like that?" So
because that was my theory in Sonic 2, is I thought that like before we knew that Shadow was, before we knew like what the plot of Sonic Movie 2 was, and we only got like the teaser that Tails is going to be in it. Like that's all we knew. My theory was that Robotnik was going to use the quill that he got from that battle or whatever to create Metal Sonic, and that was going to be the antagonist of Sonic Movie 2. That obviously wasn't the case. So I could see them setting that up for the fourth movie because, as we know, Shadow doesn't remain a villain. He becomes more of an anti-hero. So they're going to have to set up another cool villain that gets people excited, and Metal Sonic is a pretty obvious choice. So I kind of hope that my theory carries over from Sonic 2 into Sonic 3. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I could totally see that, being a setup for the next film.
Yeah, there's going to be some third act baddie that shows up, and Sonic and Shadow are going to have to team up to beat it. What that's going to be, we'll see. There's definitely a pantheon of it could just be Robotnik again, which makes a lot of sense.
I think it's going to be. I mean, it's not like big brain idea, but but I'm not like cracking the case open here. But I think it's just going to be Gerald, right?
Yeah.
Like, because that's the other big thing we haven't gotten to yet is at the end of the trailer, Robotnik meets, I guess, in this universe, maybe his grandfather. In the games, it's his great grandfather, but in the movie, it seems like maybe it's a slightly closer relative.
Yeah.
But Gerald is alive in this iteration of the lore, and which is also to Robotnik's shock. He doesn't think that Gerald is still alive. But he is in the saggy flesh, as he says. So I kind of my kind of takeaway from like the bits and pieces that we got. Shadow has a line where he says, "We're not going to stop until blah blah," and it's like, well, who's we in Shadow's case, right? Like who? Like we know Gunn is obviously opposed to Shadow. They're enlisting Team Sonic to help stop him. Obviously, Maria's out of the picture. So if Gerald's still alive, and we know, at least from like Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic Adventure 2, we know that Gerald originally created Shadow to be like the savior of humanity. But as he was betrayed by Gunn and the government, went crazy and mad and basically implanted his own revenge into Shadow. To take revenge on humanity instead, going against Maria's wish. So I could see Gerald and Shadow being like, they're like the team, right? Where Shadow's being kind of like brainwashed or something by Gerald. And maybe this is my other crazy take that related to Gerald is that, again, I don't know how much they're going to go one-to-one with the games and stuff, but Shadow the Hedgehog, I believe, is technically immortal. I think.
I believe you're correct. Yes,
because at least it's like seems to be implied because the Project Shadow was conceived because the like the president or some shit was like, "Hey Gerald, can we like find the cure to death?" And Gerald's like, "That sounds like a bad idea, but I got this niece who's like dying, and I really like her, so all right." I'll try to figure this out. And then one thing leads to another. He creates a giant lizard, and then that doesn't work out. So he enlists the help of a fucking space alien and gets his blood and shit and puts it into a hedgehog. But, that ultimately, I believe, is supposed to make Shadow immortal because he's the ultimate life form. That was the point of Project Shadow, is to, humanity to create immortality. So I think, since Gerald is still alive in this universe, I think whatever was used to make Shadow the ultimate life form, I think Gerald's got some of that shit in him. Like he made himself immortal,
right.
So that because that's like how else would he be alive still for that long? Unless they just make him like canonically younger and he was just like a lost relative or some shit. They might play that, but I think it'd be crazy if he was like immortal and then like maybe. When Shadow finally is like, no, actually, you're the bad guy, Gerald goes like full like crazy bad shit and like just like becomes some kind of crazy fucking like monster or something from his own experimentation. He's like, if you can't do it, I'll see it through. I don't know. Again, a bit of a leap. I'm making some leaps here, but just using the context to have some fun with it.
Yeah, I'm into that. I think they have some flexibility here to use, some different approaches with the source material. Obviously, like we said, the plot of Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog are both ridiculous. Like I'm watching the trailer and I'm just like, I wonder which ending from Shadow the Hedgehog they're going to use. When he's a robot or the one where he's like, something insane. But it is fun to speculate because
there is like the good canon end though of Shadow the Hedgehog, but yeah, as we know, it's like they could just pull whatever they feel like pulling to make it work for their version. So, yeah.
So that leads me to my next question here, because obviously, these are two very, foundational games in the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. Obviously, Sonic Adventure 2, if you talk to anybody born, in our sort of age generation, this is a lot of people's favorite Sonic game. So like this is gonna mean a lot to a lot of people. Shadow the Hedgehog is infamous for its own reasons, but like it's still a game that is widely talked about in the zeitgeist of Sonic fans. So I want to play this little game. I'm gonna ask you about various characters that we could possibly see pop up in this movie.
Okay.
And I want you to give me a scale of 1 to 5 chili dogs.
Okay.
Keeping with the theme of how likely this character is to cameo in some, because it's not going to be just Shadow. We're going to see.
Yeah, I think there has to be at least one other Sonic Universe character.
Yeah. So I'm going to start you as a crazy one, because this is my prediction of like if it's definitely going to be too much, and I'm definitely out on a limb here, and I know I'm crazy, but I think it would be kind of fun what if the bad guy was Chaos? Like the large, the biggest bad is like, oh yeah, by the way, there's this other science experiment. He's like water and goo, and he's he's gonna turn into this giant, perfect Chaos or Chaos Zero, whatever. I haven't played Sonic Adventure in a long time, but
I think it's just perfect Chaos I think is the final form.
There we go. But yeah, so give me a 1 to 5 chili dogs.
Man, that's a tough one. I didn't even consider that, honestly. But they are skipping like Adventure to be able to get to Shadow sooner. So they, maybe they do want to. Maybe they will just like kind of shove it in there as like a BioLizard stand-in, since BioLizard isn't really relevant to the Sonic universe outside of that, one purpose. So if they wanted to establish like another threat. And we know that the Chaos Emeralds are now like on Earth because they were released from the Master Emerald in the second movie. So that could lead to, chaos, since that's where it lives. So I think it's a non-zero chance. I'm going to give it like 1 chili dog. I'm not like convinced, but I think it's possible.
I think it's just grounded enough to be crazy enough to work.
Like, that's how I feel. It's like one of those things where, like, it feels like a reach, but there's just enough substance there that I gotta give it a chili dog.
Yeah. If anything, I feel like we're at least getting a reference to it, like a throwaway line. Like, they'll make a reference at, like, the end of the movie about some, like, water monster that's gonna, like, destroy the city or something, but...
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, if, like, again, I'm just having a hoot and a holler over here, but, like, if, I'm feeling pretty confident we're going to get Super Sonic and Super Shadow, right? And that requires the Chaos Emeralds, of course. Maybe like the power of both of them using the Emeralds is going to like fuck up everything in some way, and then that's going to lead us to like maybe that'll set up for chaos in the next one. So I think there's some legs on that. I think that guy's starting. I think it's crawling. It's not quite sprinting, but yeah, it's got legs.
If we see, I'm with you. I think we're gonna see Super Sonic and Super Shadow. You might watch me cry, like sob.
I do. I'm gonna lose my mind when that happens. Especially if they keep. This is the other thing we didn't mention too. The trailer has an orchestral nod to Live and Learn.
Oh my god!
It's definitely an original composition, but it includes the riff at multiple points of the composition, and hearing that was awesome as hell. So like if I hear like that behind like Super Shadow and Sonic, I'm gonna go bonkers, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ape shit. But like, and I hope, and I'm glad you did bring that up, because that was one of my favorite parts of the trailer. Obviously, like Live and Learn, Head and Shoulders is like probably is the best song to come out of Sonic the Hedgehog. It's
if that's the Head and Shoulders, what would you say are the knees and toes of Sonic the Hedgehog?
Night of the Wind. Like,
yeah, I'll take it.
It's an okay song. I think it's criminally underrated, personally.
Pal, if you're hearing this, it's mid. It's song's mid.
This is where I fill my quota of mentioning that I bought Sonic on a Black Knight and it has gas station for $10. So
honestly, that's a pretty good. That's like probably the best way to get that game.
And I'm glad I did.
I didn't buy it out of principle, but I do have Sonic and the Secret Ring still, and
that game sucks.
that's a video game that was produced.
I love it. So, but going back to the live and learn of it all, I hope they incorporate like more of the music into the movie, because they did the same thing with the Sonic movie 2 trailer, where there's an orchestral version of Emerald Hill Zone. And I was like, this is awesome. I love Emerald Hill Zone. It's one of my favorite songs in Sonic from that era. And then it's just not in the fucking movie. So I'm just like, don't just put this in here. Don't turn me like this. Like, I was like, I need to hear Crush 40's music in this movie, and give it to me in the climax. Like, I'm just asking for it once. That's all I need.
And this could maybe change. I doubt it at this point in the production, but I think was it Johnny from Crush 40? I think he had said on social media that they were only contacted about Live and Learn. So I'd be surprised if we got other Crush 40, but there's other non-Crush 40 songs in Sonic Adventure 2 and stuff. So I hope that they do, at least pull like another banger, like maybe City Escape was that like.
That's not a Crush 40.
That's not. Yeah, it's not Crush 40.
No.
So I mean, they play it a lot now, like for like the concerts and stuff. But like, I don't think it's not their song technically. So
what if we got like a ska punk cover of City Escape,
and it's just fucking playing like in the fucking Chow Garden, Chuck E. Cheese. You just hear it over a speaker faintly in the background. You're just like, is that City Escape with like trumpets?
What if it's like Less Than Jake doing a cover of like City
Oh my god. I would kill for that. That'd be so funny. That's like, you got Less Than Jake in your movie like Digimon did? That's hype.
All right, back to the characters here. Keeping with the theme.
Right, I forgot that was the prompt.
Yeah, so let's give you. We'll save the juicy ones for the end.
Okay.
So we obviously see the hints of Chow existing in some capacity in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Do we see a Cream the Rabbit in this movie? With 1 to 5 chili dogs, what do we think?
I'm gonna say 0. I'm gonna say 0. I think that like one that they seem to be establishing that Chow are like fictional characters.
Which is really funny.
Which is funny. And a big aspect of Cream is her friend Cheese. And I feel like if you have Cream you can't have Cream without the cheese. You can't. I feel like if you just have Cream, it's like it doesn't feel like her.
It feels empty.
Yeah. She's also like a pretty late addition to the cast. Like, and I think she's great. I think she's like a fun character to have in the franchise in general. But in like the main lore or whatever of most of the Sonic universe, like she doesn't play like a major role in anything really. I think they do much more with her in the IDW verse, which that's a separate podcast. But I think it's way too soon, and I just don't. She's not going to bring in like hype, so I'm going to give that 0 chili dogs.
I agree with you. My headcanon is that Cream is like a mascot character for the Chow Garden franchise of restaurants. So it's just somebody dressed up. It's just her dressed up as a rabbit.
I think that would actually piss me off. Like I can accept the Chow reference as a little joke of like, haha, you're not getting Chow. But if they turn Cream into a fucking Fazbear, I'll be so pissed.
I hope they don't do that. I just hope they don't reference her at all.
No, just keep her out. Keep her name out of your fucking mouth.
Keep them with the juicy ones.
Yeah.
What are the chances we see so we obviously see some robots in this trailer that lean a little bit more toward Badnik, which is pretty cool. I hope we see that fleshed out a little bit more. What are the chances we get? Obviously, one of the big ones. What are the chances we get an E102 Omega?
Team Dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's another like non-zero chance. I like that character a lot. I think like I love the very stoic, like non-feeling robot that is trying to have feelings. I think it's a good trope. It works very well. But it's I think I'm gonna give that maybe like half a chili dog. Again, I just can't really see. It's not like super recognizable outside of like like major fans. I mean, not even major fans. I guess just like only really fans would know. But even then, like if you polled like 20 random fans and you asked them who their like top 5 Sonic characters are, like you're not going to get a whole lot of Omegas in there. So
you may get a Charmy B before you get Omega.
All right, Charmy B, I get 5 chili dogs. Definitely making it in.
Yeah, everybody's favorite Chaotix member, Charmy.
I just don't think the film works without Charmy, if I'm being honest. Yeah,
I just think they should. I'm not going to see it if he's not in it. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's I don't know. I think it's just like a big fuck you if they don't put Charmy in the movie. Just like a middle finger to the fans.
All right, let's get to the big guns here. These are 2 characters I think. In my opinion, I think they're going to show both of these characters. Well, so we'll start with we'll start with this one. Rouge the Bat, in or out? How many chili dogs?
Okay, so one of the fan theories about Rouge, right, was it was like leaked or something, or maybe it was in a publication. I don't know. Was it Kristen Ritter?
Ritter.
Yes, she was like confirmed to be in the movie, and people thought like, oh, she's gonna be Rouge, which would have been dope casting, honestly. But as we have seen from the trailer, the human Kristen Ritter is in fact in the movie. So we know now that she is not Rouge. And at least from this trailer, I could not find anything that would indicate anything about Rouge the Bat being there. But with that said, I would really like her to be, because not because like I'm a horny furry or something, but because I think like we just only have like the dudes, the guys from the Sonic universe, and there's really no like female representation from the cast, and there are like interesting female characters, and Rouge is obviously one of them. And she also plays a significant part in Shadow's story in Sonic Adventure 2. Granted, they're not like friends or anything, right? But like there is like a dynamic where they're kind of like using each other to accomplish their goal. Even if they have separate goals, they have reason to cooperate with each other and get the Chaos Emeralds. So I think, especially with like Gun being a major part of the story, I think it'd be really cool if Rouge kind of have like, if they incorporate that spy element that she brings to the table. The kind of like, you don't really know which side she's going to play for until there's a jewel involved.
Sure.
And of course, especially in recent years, they've been really building up the dynamic between Rouge and Knuckles. It's become much more like they kind of dropped it after Sonic Adventure 2, then they kind of brought it back, and so there's a lot you could do there with those 2 characters. This is me trying to be optimistic. I'm going to give it 3 chili dogs because I'd really think she would be a fun addition to the movies, but I'm still not like convinced. So 3 chili dogs.
Yeah, I think it would be cool. I liked a pice of fan art online. It was from a Dor Fatum.
Did they like draw her with like really big boobs?
No,
like just giant. Oh, okay.
No, thank God. It's a picture of Rouge and the other character we're going to talk about standing outside of a pillow fort that says "No girls allowed," and it's just like the other characters just cowering. It's the boys hiding behind pillows, which I thought was very funny. I agree. I think this movie is definitely in need of some. I mean, Tika Sumpter is a great actor, of course, but she's been like a B.
She was in the trailer for I think 0.5 seconds.
Yeah, so it's like I think Tika Sumpter is.
I felt really bad. I was like, oh, there she is.
And she's a great actress.
She's great, yeah. And I thought I know I like to dig on the weird like human side stories in the movies, but I think the wedding side story was actually entertaining, and Tika Sumpter's a big part of that. So I enjoy her performance, as she's a good actress. So I hope that they do a little bit with her in this movie and don't just kind of cast her aside. I think she had like 3 lines in the Knuckles show, but whatever. Like, any reason to bring her back?
I'm into it. And let's get the big one out of the way. Everybody's favorite.
I already know what you're gonna say. I'm a big the cat.
Mighty the Armadillo. Come on.
Ray the Squirrel?
I was gonna Ray the Flying Squirrel, all right?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Ray the Flying Squirrel, my bad.
You gotta use his government. Come on.
Let's call.
Yeah, we'll edit that out.
I could smell the fans coming after me.
Justice for Ray the Flying Squirrel.
Yeah.
Amy Rose.
Amy Rose is here.
Everybody's favorite pink hedgehog.
Yeah.
Is Amy Rose in this movie or not? 1 out of 5 chili dogs. What do we feel?
I mean, it's a similar opinion as Rouge, right? Where it's like Amy is obviously like the quintessential female character. I hate to phrase it that way, but you know what I mean. It's like she's one of the first ever, female characters in the franchise. She's very prominent throughout the games and in all the comics. She's kind of the go-to. Again, I'm saying this like ironically, girl power. I put air quotes for people that aren't watching the video. Like she's like that kind of character for a long time, and I think in recent years they've done a much better job with their characterization. In like Sonic Boom, and again IDW, who's always crushing it. Like I grew to really like Amy a lot more in recent years, because for a long time, I was indifferent about her. I'm like, okay, she's obsessed with Sonic. That's like her gimmick. But they've done a lot more with her. They've definitely fleshed her out and kind of proven what her potential is. And I think she adds like a really great dynamic to the team in terms of like not just like power with like her hammer and everything, but she's also like they've kind of made her like this kind of strategic, level-headed person who is very competent at what they do, and whereas Sonic always acts on instinct. So I think like having kind of more of a voice of reason like Amy that isn't just like like Tails is smart obviously, but he also like will let whatever Sonic does, like he's infallible. At least this version of Tails, right? Is still like very much fanboy. So I think she would be a good add, but when I think about how she would work into this story, I have a really hard time figuring out what her role would be. Outside of like her just, being there, like, it's again, we've established that all these characters are from like different planets and shit. They're all aliens. So how does she get there? What is the relevance to the Shadow story? Like, yes, I've seen people talk about this on Twitter with like, her speech to Shadow, whatever, on Space Colony arc, but like, that doesn't need to be from Amy. You don't need, like, it's a nice scene. You don't need it. Like, let's be honest. So I just don't know where she fits. Obviously we haven't seen everything, so we don't know what other, like, B plots and stuff there are. So I think actually, weirdly enough, I think Rouge is more likely than Amy, because Rouge just makes more sense in this Shadow storyline. So I'm going to give Amy 2 chili dogs. Because I think it's definitely in the realm of possibility, but I would say Rouge probably makes more sense before Amy, given what we know now about the direction of the movie.
Yeah, I think one of those 2 characters is like at the very least getting referenced in some capacity, and I would love it to be Amy. I'm a big fan of Amy, and like you said, I do love what they've done with her character. In recent years, it feels like they've kind of done a better job of fleshing that character out. And I don't remember where I saw it. Somebody was hyper dissecting the trailer, and it's that one part where it looks like the universe is like, being like blown apart or whatever. Shadow like opens a black hole or something, and there's everybody's like tied together, and somebody's like, "Oh, if you freeze the frame right here, it looks like there's room for another body there." And I'm just like, all right, let's not get carried away here, folks. Now, granted, obviously, movie editing is funny and is a fickle thing, but like,
and also trailers are always like the shots you see in the trailers are not always what makes it into the movie. So
may I remind you of Spider-Man: No Way Home?
may I remind you of Morbius?
Oh yeah. Oh, boy, what a movie that was! Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Ironically, also came out, I think, the same month that Sonic 2 came out. So,
Yeah, I forget. Was it the same? I know it was very close. It might have been the same month. I don't remember, but it was very close.
I saw the meme online of like where someone's like doing the peace sign over somebody's grave, and it was like Sonic's gonna do it again. And I forget what the first movie that came out that month, the first Sonic did, but
oh yeah,
let's say Morbius.
I know the joke now is that Sonic's gonna kill Mufasa.
Yes, that's what it was.
which is really funny.
All right, Morbius came out on April 1st, 2022. Fitting.
Yeah.
Sonic came out
it's
on
like
April
they knew. That's so funny. Yeah. Get fucked, Sony.
Bro's gonna do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do hope they at least bring like one of these like powerful fan favorite characters into the franchise.
Nice save.
Yeah, you know what I'm getting at. I love Sonic.
Yeah, dude, I feel it.
No, but I'm excited, and I'm glad they didn't show too much. Obviously, we still have a ways away. I say we have a ways away, but it's going to be September in like 3 days. So
I know, it's crazy. Shit's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. Is there anything on your wish list that you want to see happen from any of these two that you want to see happen in this movie?
That's a really good question. Also, I don't know if you can probably see like some of the reflection of my glasses, but I'm like letting the trailer play to see if there's anything else I want to talk about that I forgot.
That on the background.
Yeah. While I think about like my wish list, I'm gonna reference a couple things from the trailer just to kind of tie things up. You know, they mention because they talked a lot about like what are they going to do with like the adventure games and like what are they going to reference, what are they going to bring in, but we haven't talked a lot about like from the original lore that they've established, like how is that going to impact this movie?
Sure.
Like we don't really know if like it doesn't seem like the Echidna tribe is going to play a big role in this. But to your point, if they introduce a Chaos as a character in this, that would give reason to bring back not bring them back, but like call back to the lore of the Echidna tribe, because they are like they're guardians of Master Emerald. They contain Chaos, so like there could be something there which would be really interesting. But they do show in the beginning of the trailer, while they're talking about how Sonic had troubles adjusting to Earth, and he's had a really difficult childhood. He has like the drawing that he made on his like wall of Mall, which is so like it kind of makes me curious like how much of that they're gonna kind of reincorporate to bring back into the movies from the previous lore that they set up. I think that could be interesting. I didn't really see anyone talking about that online. Granted, we don't really have a lot to work with, but I do think like if anything, some tangible threads could be doing something with the Echidna tribe related to Chaos if they went that angle. I think that could be interesting.
Yeah, no, I think that's an interesting point for sure. Also, there's a point in the movie where they're like this might you might be right. This might be like a Asian vacation, like they go from they're in Great Britain at one point. Like,
why does that sound so bad to me? That's like that sounded like the equivalent of like saying like calling someone Oriental. It just sounded like when I heard it, it just sounded gross.
Because I didn't want to say European vacation.
Yeah.
Well, it's the continent of Asia.
Yeah, I knew what you were getting at, but it just sounded like. It just sounded really funny.
First episode back, and we're getting canceled, folks.
Yeah, that's right. I also I mentioned this on my Instagram, I think, but something I found really funny. I don't know if it's on purpose or not, because obviously Sonic and Shadow, the blue and red color scheme is very prevalent already. But the shot where Shadow breaks through the tube, the color grading is like, I just watched John Wick 4 last night. Like I mentioned, the color grading is like 1-to-1 with what they do in John Wick 4. It's like a very specific shade of red and blue, and it is exactly what they use in that shot. And I'm like, do they know? They know, right? Like they did that on purpose.
Also, a quick note: I think it's really cool to see like Shadow actually use like the rocket features on his shoes to like fly up and stuff.
Yeah. I like that they like fully embrace that he has rocket shoes. You know, they're not like trying to dance around it. It's cool.
All right. So back on the subject of a wish list. Is there anything you want to? Is there any reference or like anything from a Sonic game you want to see referenced in this movie?
I mean, I guess the big one for me is like I would really like to see how they incorporate Metal Sonic into this universe. Like I know we covered that pretty extensively, but like that's up there for me. I'm not even like a big like, to be honest, I'm not even like a huge Metal Sonic fan. Like I like Metal Sonic, and I think he's cool, but it's not like I wouldn't put it like in my top favorite characters. But I just think that like in a movie context, like Metal Sonic is a really good villain. And I think it'd be really interesting to explore in this universe. But at the same time, it does kind of scare me because part of what makes Metal Sonic interesting is that he's usually like doesn't really talk, right? And right. I don't want him to be like quippy and shit, right? like I don't want them to like make him stupid. So I would like to see Metal Sonic done in an interesting way in this world. In his world.
Got him.
Yeah.
I have two things.
Okay.
One, I would love to see a sequence where Sonic drops out of a helicopter and snowboards in the streets of San Francisco.
Yes.
They're not going to give it to me.
Or at least A Street.
A Street, yeah. I don't think they're going to do it. But there is one thing if they don't reference this, I'm going to be really upset. If this movie doesn't end with a picture of Sonic and Shadow on the president's head, I'm going to be so upset.
Yes. Oh my god, that'd be so good. That'd be so good.
They have to end the movie that way. Like just like the president just like looking longingly at like an Olive Garden gift card or something.
That'd be so funny. Oh yeah, that was the other thing I was thinking about with this movie, because it's like, like we said, like it's a half Sonic movie, half like what the hell movie is this? Like I just like feel in my bones that this dude's gonna like offer Shadow an Olive Garden coupon. Like I just feel it.
What random company is gonna get like an advertisement? Because I remember they were like, oh yeah, we're looking at new houses in San Francisco on Zillow.
Yeah. Well, apparently in one of the interviews they said they weren't even paid by Olive Garden to mention them. They just thought it would be a funny thing to say. Like, you're just shilling Olive Garden for free
in this economy. That's insane.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I'm excited. So.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I okay. Here's my wish list. When they're going on their Asian vacation, when they're on the plane on their way to Tokyo, I want Sonic to say, "No in-flight movies."
Oh man, maybe we can get a faker on the fake hedgehog around here. Like,
yeah,
they have to hit the memes, right? Maybe, probably not.
I don't want them to like do too much rehashing of what we already know, right? Like, I feel like there's gonna be the balance of like, okay, put in some of the fun references and nods, but still tell like a new story. But I do think like there's got to be at least one faker in there, right? Like, right? Like there's got to be one. This
trailer in tone is very different than the other movies. That's the last thing.
I fully agree. It definitely sets a different atmosphere than what we're used to from the last couple. Like, there's still the comedic moments and like the little like Ben Schwartz quips, but like the mood of it and like the way it's lit, like the color grading, it has a very different look than when anything they've done so far. And I think it's much more interesting than some of the other like set pieces and visuals that we got previously. While Sonic Movie 2 did have some cool stills and moments, I don't think it's as visually striking as just about any shot in this trailer, to be honest.
No,
Yeah.
I agree. I think we've pretty much touched on everything. You got any closing thoughts on this first trailer? I'm sure we're gonna get a couple more before the end of the year, but you got any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I guess all that to say, like, I'm feeling optimistic about the movie. I know we're always walking on eggshells when it comes to Sonic media, but Sonic Movie 2, I think, is really, really enjoyable. And the first movie wasn't half bad either, so I think it's kind of going on an upward trajectory. So I have high hopes for it, and especially the way that like the team has been talking about it online stuff. It seems like they really made this movie the most Sonic out of the three. Like they really tried to do as much as they could with the Sonic universe. Um, so yeah, and I think the tone of it being a little more serious, a little bit darker, like that's always been what Shadow brings to the table, right? Like you grew up with like bright and cheery Sonic, and then once he entered 3D, it was like, oh no,
The Edge.
the edge, because like we got older with Sonic and we became like angsty teens, and then Shadow's like the coolest thing ever. So like
Yep.
I think that's like I think that's like the cool, like that's like the progression probably for these movies is like, okay, as the audience is getting a little bit older, we make the content a little bit more mature. I use the word mature loosely, but you know what I mean. Just like something like a little bit more they can sink your teeth into. Like Shadow's backstory is like as goofy as a lot of the stuff is that we've talked about. Like at its core, the Shadow story is quite complex and genuinely sad. So I think it's going to cut a little deeper for a lot of people. But yeah, I'm super impressed with it visually. Everything from just like the shots that we've seen so far, the character animation so far. I am just, I'm feeling really positive about it, and I've watched it like 10 times.
Yeah.
It's a great trailer. It's a really good trailer. I think like, especially when people were dunking on, on the marketing team, it's like, oh, what are they doing? Like, we haven't even seen anything yet. Like, I think they really just were like, here you fucking go, you fucking nerds.
This movie is gonna market itself, man. Because like you said, like the diehards, like obviously this movie, the appeal of like from the not Sonic perspective is that there's a whole generation of people that I'm sure there's somebody out there that's like didn't know that Sonic was or didn't play a Sonic game before they took their kids to go see Sonic the Hedgehog. And they're just like, oh, it's a movie, let's go take them to see it. And then that's a gateway drug into like a sea of whatever Sonic is. So, and like you said, I think as the audience for this movie grows in age and in scale, then they're giving us what we wanted. The first two movies are very solid. They really did a good job crafting this original universe while also referencing back to the source material. And this is the one where they're gonna punch you in the mouth with what you love. What the kids, what people in their
right in the face.
Yeah, people in their late 20s and early 30s love Sonic Adventure 2.
Damn right they do.
Yeah.
Before we fully wrap this up, there's like kind of two related things I want to touch on before we go, which is, I've been sitting here thinking about what I said earlier about how I don't think we're going to see like Doom's Eye or Black Doom, but like the more that I think about it, I've said this multiple times, we've established that they're all aliens. So like, is it actually that crazy to be like, oh yeah, there's this like other alien race that's like really fucking scary, and like Shadow is like has a weird like past with it or something, right? Like there's a bigger threat than Shadow. So like even though in my head I'm like it just doesn't feel very Paramount Pictures to have like Doomsday and Black Doom in there, but like I'm starting to kind of give it like a chili dog. Like,
you going to one chili dog for Black Doom?
Yeah, like maybe like a plain hot dog, like nothing on it, just a dog in a bun. But like I think it's possible. And the last thing that I really want to touch on which is like not at all in this trailer, but it's the year of Shadow. Happy year of Shadow. I didn't say that on top, but happy year of Shadow to you, Kyle.
Yeah, dittos who celebrate. Happy year of Shadow.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. So we have Sonic X Shadow Generations coming out. And again, that could be a whole separate conversation. But I think it's important in the context of this movie because as we've seen from Sonic X Shadow Generations so far, it is Shadow reliving his dark past and like facing that trauma once more. And Black Doom clearly is going to be a big part of it because Doom's Eye is throughout all the promotional materials now. So much to the point where Shadow even gets Doom powers now. He gets additional abilities, which is cool. It's extremely Venom, which is I'm honestly here for it.
Yes.
But the other aspect that's come out of that game is the animated short that goes more into the Maria backstory and also brings in some of that Sonic Battle lore. That's right, Sonic Battle, everybody. Low-key, goated game. Emerald is in that short. So it kind of makes you wonder, with this Year of Shadow and like the synergy between the different aspects of the brand, like, is Emerald going to be a plot point at all in this movie? I don't know. Could be. I give it a chili dog.
We're one chili dog.
I give it a chili dog.
Yeah, I thought about that too. I'm just like, it's we're in such shadow pilled mode right now. Like,
yeah.
They're gonna give,
which is what they want, right? Like which is what we wanted. We wanted to see like, okay, what the fuck are you gonna do with Shadow? And they delivered, but we know that they're still saving something that we don't know yet. So like, it's definitely fun to speculate, but I think those are the only threads that I'm following right now.
The last thing I'll make reference to in terms of something I want, I would love to hear some version of All Hail Shadow in this song because that is one of my like favorite songs in the Sonic franchise.
It's Crush 40 though, right?
It is Crush 40.
Yeah. I mean, my wish list was if there is another Crush 40 song and besides Live and Learn, like I would actually choose I Am All of Me over All Hail Shadow because that song goes hard.
It is a great song.
It's so sick.
Yeah. But again, like you, I feel the exact same way. You know, I think they've really teed us up to, you know, be really excited for this movie. Like you said, people were questioning the marketing team, but it's like we were all going to go see this movie anyway, and like this movie's going to sell itself because it's Shadow. And it's John fucking Wick as Shadow.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So
and it's coming out in like, you know, right around Christmas. So like, I have high hopes for its box office performance.
I'm comboing seeing the Sonic Symphony and then a week later seeing the Sonic the Hedgehog, 3 in theaters.
Wait, New York?
I think it's in New Jersey.
Jersey, okay.
Yeah. Oh man,
I'm trying to think of like, because I'm obviously gonna come home for the holidays, and we're gonna go see Sonic 3 as Team Sonic. But like,
yes, we are.
I'm like, it's probably too late at this point. It's because the tickets sell out really fast. But I was like, it would be funny if I just decided to go to Sonic Symphony again to get myself hyped for the Sonic 3 movie.
I'm very excited. I'm going to weep uncontrollably. So we can wear matching shirts. So
well, I am glad that you are going to see it eventually. I was bummed that you couldn't join us when we had our trip out to see it. But I hope you have a great experience because I truly loved it. The Sonic Symphony was magic.
I'm stoked. I'm very excited. I'll have a full podcast about that, and I'll pencil you in for the Sonic 3 review so we can just yap uncontrollably.
All right, I'll wash the shirt and I'll wear it again.
Let's wear this exact same thing.
There we go.
Right now, but
perfect.
Cam, thank you again as always. There's no person. Again, these are the things you ask your best friend to do. It's to jump on an impromptu podcast to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog for half an hour with you. There he is.
That's right.
We got the boy there with you. So let the people know where they can find you. What you got coming up.
Well, yeah, as always, thanks for having me on the show. A pleasure to be the debut guest of every season of Koop'd. You can find me, Camalange. Shadow, no!
Maria!
You can find me, Camalange, Camalange, on twitter.com, not xvideos.com. And I'm on Instagram and Twitch. These days, I've been playing this little game called Flash Party. It is a free-to-play platform fighter akin to games such as Super Smash Brothers and Multiverses. And I run an event called Flash Fever. The next one, Flash Fever 2, is September 22nd. And you can find more information about that also by perusing my Twitter, but also we have a Flash Fever _FP Twitter account. Kyle and I did commentary for the entire Flash Fever 1. So if you like hearing us yap, which I don't know why, but people seem to sometimes. So if you want to hear us back at it, tune in September 22nd. Give the game a try. Maybe sign up or just watch and have fun. But we got $100 in cash prize minimum, and we're getting support from the game devs with in-game currency. And it's being promoted in the game itself, too. So if you do decide to install Flash Party and try it out, you will be able to see a Flash Fever 2 ad in the game, and you can click through to sign up for the tournament. So that's going to be my big plug. We've been working really hard on that project. The first one was a really great time. It was a much bigger success than I expected. We had 60 signups, so 60 players, and pretty consistent concurrent viewership. So really fun. It's been a little passion project of mine, and Kyle's been a huge part of making that possible. So hopefully we see some of you there. And that's everything I got.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. First one was a blast. Second one's going to be a bigger blast, and I'm excited for it as well. So
that's right.
I'll put all that stuff in the description below too if you're interested. So
thanks, buddy.
Anything for you, pal. This shadow plushie's killing me. It's so funny.
Just saying hi.
You guys can check me out at Koopa NJ across platforms. I obviously host this podcast, which we're bringing back on a consistent basis. I got some fun stuff in the works. I got a lot of stuff to catch up on that I got to talk about. I got to talk. I'm going to talk about The Boys. We're going to talk about Deadpool. I'm going to have a bunch of my friends on to talk about stuff throughout, now and the rest of the year to catch up. I also host a Pokemon TCG podcast. I started a podcast with one of my local friends, George. We host the Squawk and Seas podcast, which comes out. I haven't decided a solid day for that, but you can check us out on YouTube and Twitter there. We have an episode up where we talked about Pokemon Worlds and everything that came out of that. And yeah, I got some fun stuff in the works. Content wise, if you're into card games and not card game related stuff, so stay tuned. We're cooking some stuff, and obviously follow Koop'd on all of your favorite respective podcasting sites. So,
can you only listen to that podcast on turn 1?
Yes, and then
right. Just making sure.
Yeah, just gotta stick with it. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will catch you on the next episode. Have yourselves a wonderful night, and take care, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.
Sayonara, Shadow the Hedgehog.